What's My Line? Brought to you by Kellogg's. Kellogg's Cereals. The best to you each morning from Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now let's all play What's My Line? And now, live from New York, let's meet our What's My Line panel. First, the delightful star of stage and television, Miss Arlene Francis.
And now, a marvelous comedian who gives a joyous performance in the most joyful of all pictures this year, Lover Come Back, Mr. Tony Randall.
That from one of the stars of 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
It is my pleasure to introduce a lady who is a famous reporter, a charming woman, and a great twister, Dorothy Kilgallen.
And I would like to introduce the gentleman who is the head of a very famous and distinguished publishing firm, Random House, Mr. Bennett, Cerf.
Our panel moderator, as you know, is a very famous newscaster, too. In fact, Dr. Seuss, the famous Cat in the Hat man, told me that a California institution was going to give him a new degree this year, an honorary degree, Bachelor of Oratory. But then they suddenly realized what the initials of Bachelor of Oratory were, B.O., and they're going to give him another degree entirely. Here he is, the great newscaster, John Daly.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to What's My Line. Tony Randall, very nice to have you with us again, sir. Hope you have some fun this evening. We'll do our best to see that you do. We have some interesting occupations and some very nice people who brought them to the theater. We will also have a famous mystery guest for my friends on the panel a little bit later in the program, and we'll meet our first contestant. And now to meet our first contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? Al Ward. Right, sir? Mr. Ward, where are you from?
San Francisco.
Ah, Californian.
Right.
Well, nice to have you with us. May I present our panel, Mr. Ward. You join me over here, Mr. Ward. You know how we keep score on What's My Line?
Right.
Well, we let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. All right? Panel, Mr. Ward is salaried and deals in a service, and we'll begin the general questioning with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Mr. Ward, do people pay to see you do what you do?
I think in a manner of speaking, we'd have
I'd have to say yes.
Yes. Let's say that not in all instances, but certainly many who do watch his services pay for it.
Would you have anything to do with sports or entertainment?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Ward, does your service improve in any way the people for whom you perform said service?
You mean physically?
Physically or mentally?
Well,
In a way.
yeah, I would say that if they had a certain objective, to the degree that Mr. Ward might help them in the process of his service to achieve that objective, it would improve their sense of well-being.
Are you quite finished, John?
What was the answer there?
Don't.
I lost track. Mr. Ward, do you come into physical contact with the people for whom you perform these services?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Francis.
But do they come to you for the service?
Yes, they do.
Would I come? And boy, would I. Would a lady come to you for your services?
Yes.
Uh-huh. I think he'd like me to come for them. Would Tony Randall be liable to come too?
Yes.
Is it
He didn't like that at all, did he?
Is it possible that we might ever come together?
Yes.
Your services are performed indoors?
No.
That's 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Randall.
What would we do together outdoors?
Perhaps you have a more active imagination than I. However, summer is coming. We did not establish whether or not you work for a profit-making organization.
Would you like to pose that question?
Yes, but I can't decide which voice to put it in. Affirmative or negative. Do you work for a profit-making organization?
No.
Very good, Tony. That's 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you then, Mr. Ward, work for some branch of the government?
Yes.
Do you work for the federal government?
No.
5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Do you work, Mr. Ward, for the local government in the San Francisco area?
Yes.
Do you wear any kind of distinctive garb when performing your service?
Yes.
Would you describe it as a uniform?
Yes.
Does it include a shield of any kind?
No.
That's 6 down and 4 to go, Miss Francis.
Therefore, we have ruled out the police service, any form of the police service, right?
That, I think, is...
Would the uniform be one immediately recognizable?
No.
Small conference.
You have.
Boy.
Come.
Well, with Mr. Ward's permission, I'm going to give you a qualified yes. It is unlikely at the same time that you, any one of you on the panel, would instantly recognize the service as a matter of fact of the uniform. However, if you were more acquainted with it and were looking to identify it, I think we could presume then that you would have the possibility to identify it. So do you go ahead, Miss Francis. No, huh? Yeah?
All right, John. Do you ever perform your services off the ground?
Do you mean, is Mr. Ward himself on the ground?
No, I mean, is he ever off the ground?
You mean Mr. Ward himself off the ground when he performs his service?
Yes.
Well, I think we'd have to agree that you were yourself off the ground, yes.
Mr. Ward is shaking his head, and I tell you, Dorothy feels that she knows
Yes.
what this profession is.
Oh, but I don't want to steer you wrong.
So you're making it very ungallant of me if I don't pass, is that it?
Wait a minute till I get a no. Yes. All right. When you are off the ground, are you in anything?
Yes.
Are you in an
What then?
airplane?
No.
That's 7 down and 3 to go, Mr. Randall.
I've racked my brains and I have to pass.
Oh, it isn't what I thought at all. May I rule out that you had anything to do with the zoo?
Yes, you may rule out that
That was my great big weenie for the evening, I want to tell you. All right, you're in something, but it's not an airplane. But it is something that goes off the ground.
No, it was determined that Mr.
He goes
Ward
off the-
himself is not on the ground when he performs the service.
Well, is the thing that he is in on the ground?
You can't.
Yes.
Well, is he either in it or on top of it?
Yes.
Is he in it?
You're in it, I
Yes.
would say, yes.
Oh, I'll be darned. Is this anything that is performed... Now, Tony knows what it is. Is it anything that's performed near the water?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yes.
Is the thing that you're in is solid, I suppose? Are you in a sitting position?
No.
That's 8 down and 2 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Are you in a prone position, Mr.
No.
No, 1 to go, Miss Francis.
Well, all we've got left for you is standing up, boy.
Supine.
You stand up on your job, huh?
Yes.
On your feet.
Yes.
Does what you are in stop and start quite a lot?
Does it stop and start quite a lot?
Yes.
Well, Mr. Randall and I had a private conference over here. Is it in any way associated with an elevator, what you are in?
An elevator? No.
Cable cars.
Cable cars, right, but too late.
Forget about that entertainment bit, that's why I hesitated.
I think I rode in a car that you were working on one day, and you said, now you'll know me if I ever come on the show, and I said I wouldn't recognize you, and I didn't.
You know, one thing that led me astray, if I may interrupt, is that Mr. Ward's voice is so beautiful.
He is also a member of the Screen Actors Guild. Oh. Have you done much work in that?
And he moves like a dancer or an actor.
Little work.
A little work. Well, maybe...
I'm looking.
Well, may we say, all of us, that we hope you get a lot more work to do under the aegis of the Screen Actors Guild. Thanks. We had a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed your visit, Al. Nice to have you. Now to meet another challenger. Will you enter and sign in, please? Sylvia Mendoza, right? Is it Miss or Mrs.? Miss Mendoza, and where are you from?
Originally from Puerto Rico.
Ah, so. Fine. Nice to have you with us. Originally from Puerto Rico. Miss Mendoza, may I present the panel? Would you join me over here, please? Do you know how we keep score? Fine. We'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. All right, panel. Miss Mendoza is salaried, deals in a service, and we'll begin the general questioning with Bennett, Cerf.
Miss Mendoza, have your services got any connection whatever with the entertainment industry?
Small conference. Bennett, we're going to give you a no. But I don't want to be charged subsequently with confusing the issue. The service has nothing directly to do with entertainment, and we believe that that is the term of reference from which you asked the question.
Yes, it is.
Miss Francis?
Miss Mendoza, does your work require skill?
Oh, yes.
Does it require coordination?
Yes, I would say so. Mental
Do
coordination.
you come in contact with other people in purveying your services?
Yes.
Is there anything athletic about what you do?
No. 2 down and 8 to go. Tony Randall.
Is your work primarily mental? Or clerical, let's say?
I would say primarily mental. There's always some physical activity with any service, but it's primarily a mental process that brings out the fruitful result.
Just remember that, Tony.
Miss Mendoza, is special training required to it?
Yes.
Does that training go as far as a degree?
Yes.
Now, this is to say, in this instance, a degree is present. I believe Miss Mendoza would agree with me that in some instances we would not find a degree absolutely necessary, but it would be helpful.
Do you work for a non-profit-making organization? Do you work for some branch of the government?
Yes.
The poet T.S. Eliot said that April is the cruelest month. I think he was referring to today. Are you in any way connected with this cruel day, April 15th? Then I must guess what you have to do with the collection of income tax.
Yes.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
She collects.
You collect it.
Well, that's a very general description. I would agree that Miss Mendoza plays a substantial part in the overall process by which taxes are collected by our fine government, but what specifically would you suggest she does in this area?
Sends refunds.
Send refunds. That's 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Well, are you the head of our local bureau?
That's 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Do you have anything to do, Miss Mendoza, with checking the returns after they've been submitted?
I think we'd have to... We're going to throw those all over anyway, so Miss Mendoza is technically an income tax examiner. And I must say that this makes income tax payment less painful than it has been heretofore to me.
Just a tiny bit.
Just a tiny bit. Now, I've said this before in years gone by. It's a great service because their people who work in it have a very delicate public relations job, and they do it magnificently, ma'am. More than that, I think we can be very proud of our people. I read an article today in the Times, and my figures may be a little bit off. You correct me if they are. I believe the total possible collection of taxes in this country is achieved by 96%. And some 93 million Americans pay their taxes, and the most wonderful thing about it, I think Justice Jackson wrote an article about this, they self-assess themselves and voluntarily go forward, and in the main, as far as the department is concerned, most Americans do a wonderful job. One reason Americans do a wonderful job in income tax is because of people like Miss Mendoza. Right. Thank you very much for being our guest. We hope you enjoyed being with us. We'll meet tonight's mystery guest in just a moment, but first, here is a word from our sponsor. And now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery challenger, for which the members of the panel, as you all know, are blindfolded. Blindfolds all in place, panel?
Yes, sir.
Good. Will you enter mystery challenger and sign in, please? Panel, a different form of questioning, one question at a time, in turn, moving clockwise, and we'll begin with Mr. Randall.
May I assume from those whistles that they are fairly earned?
Well, yes. Was that a point of information, or do you want to consider that a question, Mr. Randall?
My question was, are you a young lady?
That's fine. That's no. 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Wow.
I was so set up for Kim Novak after that remark and the applause.
I've been set up for Kim Novak for...
All right. Are you a performer of some kind?
A performer in the sense of movies, television, that sort of thing, Dorothy?
Or sports.
Or sports, but an actual performer...
Someone who performs before the public and people pay to see it.
Yes.
Mr. Cerf?
This literally breaks my heart, but I must disqualify myself this evening, because I know who the mystery guest is.
Miss Francis?
Well, is it a figure in the sports world?
Not presently.
Now, I must change that answer to a resounding yes. Mr. Randall?
Well, I'll have to go the obvious route and ask if you're connected with the Mets.
Yes.
Are you Casey Stengel?
He sure is. Stay with us. Now, as one of the new fans that Casey has played such a large part in creating of the Mets, I'm not at all downhearted, sir. I think that you were a towering giant in the sports field, and I think the Mets are going to go on and write their name large in sports history. After all, you've just had a little time to get started, and you've got a long, hard job, as you've said yourself so many times, so we don't get disheartened. Yes, Dorothy?
Well, I was going to say to Mr. Stengel that I don't know too much about baseball. In fact, I'm pretty dumb about it. But I do know about New Yorkers, and I think we've needed an underdog team for a long time, and the same people who were rooting for the Dodgers and a lot who've rooted for Mr. Stengel in the past are going to be out screaming their heads off for him and for the Mets.
John.
Thank you very much.
John, could I explain, Casey, why I knew it was going to be Casey I've been begging him. We're publishing Casey's book, Casey at the Bat. I've been begging him to come on this show for months, and finally, with the assistance, the very valuable assistance of his lovely wife, Edna, we talked him into coming tonight. And we're mighty glad to have you, Casey.
Well, there's so many splendid people and experts, you know. I didn't think that I could qualify to ever appear on their show.
Oh, Casey, you qualified to appear on this show a long, long time ago. Was it 9 pennants in 12 years? That qualifies you for 55 appearances on What's My Line. And we're tickled. Actually, Casey doesn't like to get on television, and we're very tickled that he finally broke down and decided to join us. I'll tell Toots Shore that you finally gave in, because he said you'd never do it.
What do you think of the team, Casey? What are you going to do about the Mets? Have you got some plans for...
Well, no, it's a little snowy today. It was about the 4th inning there, and we're not used to playing in the snow, and the first game it rained, and we're not used to playing in the rain. Then, too, I'm so interested in writing that Casey at the Bat to see that it's sold that I haven't been thinking of the right things the last 4 days. But from now on, I'll do my work right.
Casey is more than an expert at baseball. He's an expert in speech. Thank you, Casey. Wonderful to have you.
Get us to the first division, will you? Easy.
I will not put a rope on.
That's the idea.
Oh, that was great.
Let's have him back soon.
Well, I think we ought to. I think we ought to, too. And I must say it's a load of fun to have Casey here. I don't know if we'll have time. I'm afraid we won't be able to make another contestant right away quick, but we might try it in a bit. We'll try another contestant after this word from our alternate sponsor. And now, our final contestant, will you enter and sign in, please?
Now, that's what I meant by earnest.
Louisa Bisbini. Is that right? I'm going to tell you, panel, to save time, that it's Miss Bisbini, and she comes originally from Italy. Will you join me over here, please? Do you know how we keep score? What's my line? All right. If you know how we keep score, we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. All right, panel. Miss Bisbini is salaried and deals in a service. We'll begin the general questioning with Arlene Francis.
Miss Bisbini, would anybody come to watch you give your service?
Yes.
Would you consider yourself a performer of some kind?
Yes.
Do you perform exciting feats of any kind, rather than just ordinary acting?
Yes, I would
Yes.
say. They're exciting.
Would you ever be seen in a circus?
Yes.
Are you seen at the present time in a circus?
Yes.
Is it the Barnum and Bailey
Yes.
Ringling Brothers Circus? Barnum, Bailey, Ringling, North. Are you a high wire performer?
No.
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Randall.
Is it an acrobatic work of some sort?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you perform with animals? No.
3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Do you perform on the ground rather than up in the air?
No.
Small conference.
Not acrobatic?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Are you a member of a troupe?
Yes.
Is there juggling connected with the troupe?
Yes.
Are you a juggler?
Yes. Very good. Actually, Miss Bisbini is from a very old circus family from Milan. Is that not so?
Yes.
And is presently here in New York with that wonderful...
In a juggler vein.
In a juggler vein. Well, that spoils the night, I must say. Miss Bisbini, thank you very much for being with us. And we gave them some fun anyway, and I hope a little fun. Well, congratulations to you, panel. I think you performed magnificently tonight. And on that very good note, good night, Miss Arlene Francis.
Good night, Mr. John. Good night, dear Mr. Tony.
Good night, Miss Francis. Good night, Miss Kilgallen.
Good night, Mr. Tony. Good night, Mr. Bennett.
Good night. Good night, John.
And good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with us on What's My Line.
What's My Line is the CBS Television Network production in association with Mark Goodson and Bill Todman. Johnny Olson speaking.